a Black woman in STEM. What makes you think that I would have to pay to get my PhD? What is of the unfinished fam? It is yet another Wednesday. I come to you as Chelsea, disguised as Dr. Jones. Today, I'm going to tell you about the fellowship that put me through grad school. Do me and yourself a favor by subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications, but also follow me on the socials. Before I tell you about my fellowship, let me tell you what a fellowship is. Depending on what field you're in, it can mean a few different things, but generally it is a merit-based scholarship, aka money given to you to pursue advanced academic studies. In most math fields, it typically means that you're funded without having to complete additional duties such as being a teaching assistant. This is great because you get to focus on your studies and research without worrying about attending grading parties. I secured the Southern Regional Education Board, SREB, Doctoral Scholar Fellowship. This fellowship is awarded to minorities pursuing their PhD at a university located in the Southern U.S. region, and it aims to increase faculty diversity. This fellowship has two scholar options, the State Scholar and Institutional Scholar. The State Scholar option has more competition because it's solely funded by SREB, and you're able to choose what university you want to go to as long as it's within the region. Me? I was an institutional scholar. This meant that my fellowship was directly connected to my university. My school had an agreement with SREB such that they agreed to save a financial spot for a certain number of SREB scholars. The agreement was set up so that SREB covered my tuition, fees, and stipend for my first 3 years, and my graduate school and department would pick up the remaining years. Now, what I liked most about SREB is that they offered more than just paying for school. They also provided funding for scholars to present at conferences, they hosted the Institute on Teaching and Mentoring, and they paid for the scholar and their mentor to attend the Institute. SREB offered more than just financial support, which is super important, but they provided community as well. Hence their motto, more than just a handshake and a check. Boom. Let me give you a slight breakdown on what that money was really talking about. Most grad school stipends are given to match the poverty line. Ooh, I meant they're made to be a competitive salary in the state that you're in. The internet says, to live comfortably as a single adult with no kids in Richmond, Virginia, where my university is, I would have to make just over $33,000 a year before taxes. Now, if I didn't have the SREB fellowship and was just working with the GTA, I would be making roughly $18,000. And that doesn't include summers. The GTA contract only covered a 9-month term for the fall and spring semesters. And you weren't allowed to work outside of the department either. Okay, the moment that you have all been waiting for as an SREB scholar for an entire 12-month year, my stipend was, drumroll please, $24,000. I'll break down how I budgeted my grad school salary some other time. Just know that I had to live 30 minutes away in an efficiency just to be able to afford living by myself. You may be wondering,
how did you get such an amazing fellowship?
I don't know the application process for the state scholars, but as an institutional scholar, I had to get a letter of support from my department chair and write a letter of interest. I'm not sure how many students actually applied for that fellowship my first year, but I do know that I was one of 9 awarded campus-wide for that year. It was a pretty straightforward process applying to the award. What about keeping it? That was also pretty straightforward. All they asked of me was to maintain a 3.0 or higher, attend the Institute on Teaching and Mentoring for my first 3 years, all expenses paid, and to progress in my program. Progressing in my program meant that I was a full-time student taking courses or conducting research towards my dissertation. I provided proof of this with a screenshot of my unofficial transcripts every semester or a quick update of my research findings. So, technically, I wasn't required to work in my department if I didn't want to, based on the definition that I gave you at the beginning of this video. And for my first 2 years, I didn't work. And it was amazing. It was great. It was fantastical. But then something happened. Before my third year began, we got a new PhD program director. This person found a loophole in my contract, and thus I began TAing in the fall semester, and I was expected to do so until I graduated. Anywho, at the end of my program, I filled out a completer form with my fellowship, basically a form to keep in contact with me after I graduate. I was supposed to go to the institute, walk across the stage, share some words. However, the pandemic. As I mentioned before, it's more than just a handshake and a check. I'm always welcome to an institute or to reach out if I need help finding a job. I quickly want to note that although SREB aims at increasing faculty diversity, they don't force you to go into academia. I say that to say, don't be afraid to apply for this fellowship, but keep an open mind. You can stay connected to academia without teaching. Mentoring and giving talks are great ways at staying connected. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Till we meet again in just a moment. See ya.